Hi friends, welcome to my Steampunk series. I am going to create a journal cover for the current journal that I've been working on, and I'm going to use some boxes that I was going to put in my recycling bin, but I decided I would go ahead and use them to make this journal cover. The first pieces that I'm going to cut to size will be the front and back cover. If you're here because you haven't done this before and you're wanting to see how it's done, you could do this one of two ways. You could go ahead and measure your journal pages and then say make it a 1/4 inch bigger around all edges. Or you could do what I do. I kind of take shortcuts and I just put my journal cover right up on the cardboard and I mark it and then I go ahead and cut it. I will do that for the front or the back cover, and then with the second sheet, I'll just mirror what I did for the first one. Once I get the front and back cover cut to size, then I will make my spine. In order to decide how wide I want my spine to be, I will take all of my signatures and I will put them on top of the cardboard. These were too small, so I'm going to have to get a bigger box. I'm going to use either the front or back cover to mark the new piece of cardboard that I have. I'm just marking it so that I can cut the height correctly. Now I'm going to grab my signatures again, put them on the cardboard, and see how wide of a spine I think I'm going to need. Now I will trim the height and the width to size. Once that's done, it is time to put it together. So I put them down on my table, make sure everything looks good, and I grab some masking tape. Now you can use masking tape or you could use duct tape. I've used both. I do use tape on both sides. Once you are finished taping it together, it is time to cover it. There are so many ways to cover your journal cover. You can use batting, you can use several different layers of fabric, you can use a single layer of fabric. There's no wrong answer in how to cover your journal cover. As usual, I don't have a plan. I really like to work spontaneously. But what I do have is I've got myself surrounded by fabrics. I grabbed fabrics out of my stash that I felt like went well with the journal signatures, the pages that I have in the journal. So I've got some maroon or like this rich purple going on in there. Of course, there's some black. There's some very deep, rich flowers. So I grabbed rich materials to work with. After looking through my materials and thinking about it for a little while, I grabbed this satin material. Now, this was recently given to me in Happy Mail, and it's I'm trying to explain how it is. It's satin, and it was sewn, and it's been unsewn, so the threads have been taken out of it. So it left marks, which I think look really cool because in steampunk, you might see rivets and things like that. Well, this satin material, because the thread was removed, it almost looks like there's sort of rivets in it. So I thought that was kind of neat, and that's why I chose it. I'm going around my cover with some Fabri-Tac. Well, it's 3-in-1, but that's basically the same thing. And sometimes this sort of liquid can seep through the material and it shows. So I'm putting this on here really thin because I don't want it to seep through the material if I can help it. Believe it or not, so far so good. It has not seeped through. We've got our first layer on either the front or the back. I have not decided which side's going to be the front and which side's going to be the back. And we don't have to decide that right now. Let's just get some of the cover on. So there's not enough material to cover both the front and back, or should I say inside and outside. I've got another piece of it, but actually it ends up being just a little bit too small. So I'm going to have to find something that will coordinate with this fabric, but that will cover the inside cover. While my brain is thinking about the materials that I looked at earlier and what might go nicely with this, I'm going to go ahead and trim up the edges. Once the edges are trimmed, I'm going to snip the corners so that when I fold it over, when I glue it, I can fold it sort of like the way you would wrap a gift. I'm going to glue these edges over with some 3-in-1. There's a little bit of fabric hanging over the edge, so I'm going to go ahead and snip that off. And I will do the same thing all the way around on all 4 sides. I've got this black fabric and it's like suede and there's actually a sheen to it, and I wish you could see it on camera, but I can tell that you can't really see it, but it's really, really awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and use that for the other side of the cover. I want to get the size just right, so I'm actually laying it underneath of the cover, and then I'm going to use my razor and I'm going to start scoring the material. If you weren't comfortable doing this, you could just go ahead and grab a marker or something and mark your material and then just cut it with your scissors. I also have this cutting tool and you could use this as well. I went ahead and put my ruler up against the edge of my cover just to protect it and keep the line really straight. And then I used this round tool. I'm sorry, I don't know what it's called. Please make note that I actually have a piece of glass on my desk, so I am not marking up my desk. It is now cut to size and ready to be adhered to the cover. I have decided that I'm going to go ahead and use hot glue to adhere this material onto the cover. This material is quite thick, so I'm not going to need to worry about the glue seeping through at all. And actually, that would be true whether I was using the 3-in-1 Fabri-Tac or the hot glue. This is a very thick material. Just so you guys know, I have my hot glue gun set on the highest setting. I want that glue to be very, very hot as it possibly can be when I get it on there, because it'll give me a little bit of time to really press it down flat. If I have it on the low setting, it cools a little too quickly and I can't get to it in time. You will notice that I'm working in very small sections. And again, that's so that the glue is hot, it's pliable, I can use my scissors here and press it down really flat. That way there's no lumps or bumps in my cover. All right, we got that done. Now I want to go ahead and add a layer of material on top of our beautiful satin. So this piece here was also recently given to me in a Happy Mail. And I know that these were given to me by one of 2 people, so I'm not going to say who it is. But if you're watching and it was you, feel free to put that in the comments section. Let me know, and then I can add you to my description box. This material goes so beautifully with the satin that I already have on there. These colors coordinate so nicely together, so I think it's just absolutely perfect. So I'm tearing the edges because I want it to have a frayed edge. So I'm going to go ahead and tear the edges and then I'll pull on them a little bit just to give it a little more fray. One side of this fabric was sort of like folded under and I just couldn't get it to fray. So I'm going to snip it and then pull it, and then I should have just a nice freshly torn edge and I should be able to get it to fray. This fabric is very, very sheer, so I'm going to go ahead and use the 3-in-1. But again, I'm going to put it on pretty thin because if I can help it, I want to try to keep it from seeping through too much. I'll put a bead of it on there, and then I'll just go ahead and sort of rub it down with my finger, and that way it's not like a pile of it sitting there waiting to seep through the fabric. In the next video, we will decorate this journal cover. I think it's time now for me to decide which is going to be the front cover and which is going to be the inside cover. So here's the black, and when I put the papers down on it, look how striking that is. And then here it is on the other side. So I think I have answered the question. Definitely the black is going to be the inside. It has such an amazing impact. Thanks for watching. See you soon.